You are standing at the gun counter of the sporting goods store, and there are two hunting rifles laid out on the glass in front of you. One is a plain black bolt action rifle with a synthetic stock, $400, and the sticker says the scope comes with it. The other one wears walnut so pretty you want to pet it, carries a name you grew up respecting, and costs $2,000. The young fella behind the counter calls the expensive one a lifetime investment, and somewhere in the back of your mind, you are wondering if that cheap one is going to let you down on the one frosty November morning that finally matters. I have stood at that counter, and so has every man at my deer camp. But here is what nobody behind that glass ever says out loud. At the distances whitetail actually get killed, those two rifles will fill your freezer exactly the same. Stay with me to the end, friend, because I am going to tell you the one part of your setup where money truly shows up in your freezer, and it is not the barrel, it is not the action, and it is not the name stamped on the side. I'm Donna Larsen, I'm 52 years old. I live in the Northwoods of Wisconsin, and my dad, Ray, had me in a deer stand before I was 8. I shot my first buck at 11 with his old lever action 30-30, and 44 seasons later, I run the same deer camp I grew up in. Nobody sends me free rifles, and nobody pays me to praise one. I buy my own equipment, same as you, and I have made my share of dumb purchases doing it. Dad always said the deer don't care what you spent. He said it standing in the snow next to a buck he took with a rifle that cost him less than his boots. And 44 seasons have never once proved him wrong. But something did change since Ray's day, and it changed in favor of your wallet. Years ago, a cheap rifle really was a gamble. The barrels were hit or miss, the actions were rough as a cob, and you crossed your fingers. Then the factories switched over to computer-controlled machines, and suddenly a $400 barrel gets cut with the same precision as an expensive one. The boys at my camp did not want to believe it either. Then one of them bought a plain budget bolt gun in 30-06 as a truck rifle, took it to the sandpit behind the county road, and it shot tighter groups than the pretty rifle he babied for 20 years. He did not tell his wife what the pretty one cost. That is a supper club story, but here is the short version. The rifles got good and the prices stayed low, and the only folks not celebrating are the ones selling you the $2,000 answer. There is no conspiracy in that, just plain commerce. Advertising money follows expensive gear, so expensive gear is what gets pushed at you. And hold that thought about where your money does belong, because I am coming back to it, and it is the part the gear ads never mention. Now, everything I am about to show you comes out of the same 44 seasons I put into a book called Donna's Whitetail Bible, 101 field-tested tricks to stop going home empty-handed. I wrote it for hunters who already do the basics right and still eat tag soup more Novembers than they would like to admit. It is organized around the problems that actually cost you dear. Turning those 2 a.m. camera bucks into daylight shots, figuring out why a good stand went dead, hunting around other people's pressure, and cheap field substitutes for expensive gear, which is exactly the medicine we are talking about today. It is $17, marked down from $47. And $17 is less than 1 box of premium ammunition or 1 wasted tank of gas to the lease. No gear ads in it, no $400 gadgets, just the stuff Dad and the old-timers handed me for free. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you used to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up, give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you're watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time. There is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. All right, friend. Let's put both of these rifles on the bench and be honest about them. Start with the $400 rifle, the plain black one with the synthetic stock. The barrel on that rifle will shoot better than you can hold it from a shaky ladder stand in a cold wind, and I mean that as a compliment to the barrel. A deer's vitals give you a target about the size of a paper plate. That is roughly 10 inches. 10 inches at 100 yards from a rifle that puts 3 shots inside 2 inches off a rest. The math is not close. And here is where whitetail hunting is kind to your wallet, because whitetail are not shot across canyons. In the woods and field edges where most of us hunt, from Wisconsin down through the south, the honest shot is inside 150 yards. And most of mine over 44 seasons have come inside 90. At 90 yards, that budget barrel is simply not the weak link. But I will not pretend the rifle is perfect, because it is not. The bolt feels gritty like stirring sand. The stock is hollow and it thumps like a plastic bucket when you bump it against the stand rail. The recoil pad is stingy, and the scope that comes bundled on top is, and I am being polite here, the worst part of the whole package. Remember that scope, friend. We are coming back to it. And it is the whole answer to today's question. Now the $2,000 rifle, and I am going to be fair to it, because it is a beautiful thing and the men at my camp who own one love it like a bird dog. What does the extra $1,600 buy? It buys walnut with figure in it that glows by the fire at deer camp. It buys a bolt that slides like it is running on oil, a trigger that breaks clean as an icicle, checkering cut by someone who cared, and a fit between metal and wood you can barely find with a fingernail. It buys pride, and pride is real. It buys resale value, because that rifle will be worth something when the plastic one is worth $40 at a garage sale. And it buys an heirloom, a rifle your grandkids will argue over someday. The way I would fight anybody who touched Dad's 30-30. Those are true things, and I will not rib a man for wanting them. But now the question on the thumbnail. Which one is worth your money? So ask what the expensive rifle does to the deer that the cheap one cannot. At 90 yards on a broadside buck, the answer is nothing. The bullet does not know what the stock cost. The buck drops the same. Dad's 30-30 is the most valuable rifle at our camp, and on paper it might fetch $300. It has killed more deer than every shiny rifle in that cabin put together. So if you buy the $400 rifle, and for most hunters watching this, I think you should, here are 3 things that make it hunt like the expensive one, and none of them cost more than a tank of gas. First, check that the action screws are snug. Those are the screws on the underside that hold the barreled action into the stock. Budget rifles sometimes leave the factory with them loose, and a loose screw will scatter your shots and get the barrel blamed for it. Snug them up before you ever sight in. If you are not comfortable doing that, any gun shop will do it while you wait. Second, find the ammunition your rifle likes. Every barrel has preferences, cheap or expensive. Buy 3 different boxes of hunting ammunition in your caliber. Shoot a group with each one off a rest. One of them will group noticeably tighter, and that is your load from now on. Write it on a piece of masking tape and stick it inside your gun cabinet. Third, and this one is free, practice from field positions. Off the bench, everybody is a marksman, but bucks do not walk past benches. Practice sitting, kneeling, and leaning against a tree, because the $200 of skill you build in an afternoon at the range beats $1,600 of walnut every single day of the season. And through all of it, the rules Ray drilled into me before I was 8 still stand. Treat every rifle as loaded. Keep the muzzle pointed somewhere safe. Know your target and what is beyond it. No rifle at any price fixes a careless shot. Now, is there a hunter who should buy the $2,000 rifle? Yes, and I will tell you exactly who he is, because he is sitting at my camp table every November. He has hunted 40 years. He has filled his tags with ordinary rifles his whole life. His kids are grown, and he wants to spend his remaining seasons carrying something beautiful that his grandson will inherit. That man is not being foolish. He is buying an heirloom that happens to shoot, and I hope he gets a hell of a buck with it. But notice what he is not doing. He is not expecting the price tag to fill his freezer. If you are still building your skills, still missing bucks at last light, still coming home with tag soup, the expensive rifle will not fix one thing that is going wrong. Which brings us right back to the promise I made you at the gun counter. Remember I said there is one part of your setup where money truly turns into venison, and it is not the rifle? Here it comes, friend. It is the scope. The glass on top of that rifle matters more than everything underneath it. And the reason comes down to when whitetail actually move. Deer are creatures of first light and last light. Over 44 seasons, I could count on my two hands the mature bucks I have seen in the bright middle of the day. But the 10 minutes before the end of legal shooting time on a November evening, that is when the woods come alive. And that is exactly when cheap glass quits on you. The $60 scope that comes bundled on the budget rifle goes dark early. Standing on a frosty field edge in Wisconsin at last light, that bargain scope shows you a gray smudge where a $250 scope still shows you a buck, a shoulder, and a clean, ethical shot. The cheap one steals roughly the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes of your legal light. Every sit, all season, and those 20 minutes are where the deer live. And the second failure is worse. Bargain scopes lose their zero. They rattle down a washboard fire road in the truck, take one bump against the ladder stand, and the crosshairs quietly move. So the rifle everybody blames was never the problem. So here is what 44 Seasons says to do with your money. Buy the $400 rifle. Take the $1,600 you just saved, put $250 to $400 of it into a scope from a reputable glassmaker with a lifetime warranty, spend $100 on practice ammunition, and leave the rest in your pocket for gas to the good spots. That setup, in practiced hands, will outkill a $2,000 rifle wearing bad glass every season for the rest of your life. The money was never about the rifle. It was about seeing the buck when he finally steps out. And that right there is the kind of thing Dad and the old-timers handed me for free, standing in the snow. And it is exactly why I put 101 of those lessons into Donna's Whitetail Bible, so they don't die with the men who taught me. Cheap substitutes for expensive gear have their own place in the book, laid out plain, right alongside turning nocturnal bucks into daylight shots and fixing stands that went dead. $17, down from $47, and it costs less than the box of ammunition you will burn, figuring this out the hard way. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you use to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up, give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you're watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time, there is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. So the short of it is this. Buy the honest $400 rifle, snug the screws, find its ammunition, and put your real money in the glass and the practice. Now tell me in the comments, what is the one piece of gear you regret buying? Put it below, friend. We have all got one. Mine was a $200 grunt call system that spooked more bucks than it called. I read every single one. And next time, I am going to show you how to sight in that new rifle in 15 shots or less, the way Ray taught me at the sand pit, including the one final check most fellas skip that quietly cost them $1 in November. Keep your wind right and your coffee hot, and I'll see you in the woods.